soul singer, some more death that done happened. Soul singer Angie Stone died in a car crash. She was 63 in Mobile, Alabama. Uh, the question is, was it an accident? Um, Recently, as of 3 months prior to her passing, rest in peace again to Angie Stone. She called out Universal Music Group for taking all her royalties and not getting paid properly from her music. Um, she's never received the full money of her music, and she never received the full music of her money. She never received the full money of her music.
Mhm.
What do you think about that? Accident or coincidence?
Well, it's tragic that she's passed, and I'm sorry to hear that. Condolences to her family.
Yes.
But also it's always that sad tale of like artists always getting robbed of their royalties, and they don't understand what's going on with their finances, and checks not coming in like they supposed to, and now they want to start looking at paperwork. My thing is like, why wasn't this done from the jump? Why wasn't this done when you got out of a messed up contract? Now you're about to go into a new one. Let me read this contract this time. You know what I'm saying? Why was none of these things ever done? I don't understand why. You've been in the game for so long. You've rubbed elbows with so many people. So nobody put nobody on to no information. So everybody in the industry have fucked up deals, and everybody just walking around not knowing how to get out of no deals, unless you Jay-Z. So he just know what books to read, and he could read Latin you can't read or something. He reading a book you can't read in a language you can't understand. How is it still to this day people are still having issues with contracts? What's going on? Maybe Doge need to look at these contracts. What's like? I'm serious, like honestly, because this can't be life. Because it's every situation, every artist. When in the beginning the checks is good, this, that, and the third. I guess they give you enough money to pacify and not look certain ways. And then all of a sudden, when the checks start drying up, now you want to start looking at shit. Because I'm pretty sure you was getting checks. I'm pretty sure you was getting money. You may have not gotten the totality of your bread, but it was getting you enough not to look at stuff. So whose fault is it if you're not handling your own affairs? And how is this a good example for up and coming artists who want to come up and learn? Who are they going to learn from? Obviously can't be y'all OGs because y'all still ain't learn nothing. So who's supposed to give them the knowledge to make sure when you get into the game, you're good all the way around? And if you're gonna deal with a major, you know how to deal with them. That's all I'm saying. I just don't understand how is this even possible, and still to this day, 2025, how y'all still getting finessed. But again, condolences to her family. Angie Stone was a great artist. Her music was amazing. It's just tragic that you can't control your own art. I don't get that. Like, how is that? Why do you need these people to move your work for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, this like on some rich shit. Like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna let you run these corners, but I'm gonna let him hold it. You know what I'm saying? You just chill back and get this money. Like, nah. I want to run this block how I want to run it. You know what I'm saying?
I can't let you do that. You hot, baby.
And he had a good point. He was hot, but in the beginning he was running his own block. So how you gonna tell me to move aside and let somebody else run it? Nah, son. Mm-hmm. Either I run it or nobody running it. And that's how I feel artists. I don't get it. Like, at this point, why do you even need majors now?
This is an easy answer for me. This is an easy answer because when I first started, you're not deemed successful as an artist until you sign with a major.
And I feel that's the perception. That's back to the whole thing we was talking about before.
I was going to get into that, right? So because that perception is a motherfucker. It's serious. The perception, going back to what we talking about with the NBA, right? Well, about the sneakers, the perception. This perception in our culture, in our community, you're not successful unless you get with Diddy, unless you get with Jay-Z, unless you get with, you know, anybody that held power and that's recognizable of success. You're not successful until you get with them, opposed to doing what they did. And what they did, they may have came through someone, but they had their own thing. Especially Jay-Z. He came into the game with his own money, and the fact that because he was so talented, he looked at the music as a business, and because he has the own type of music, he was like, "Yo, because I have my own bread, I could afford the promotion. I could afford to do this and do that." But most 99.9 of the artists had a different mentality. I'm broke and I need to get on. And I'm going to get on because by me getting on, it makes me look successful. Yeah, I may not have no money on me, but I'm in $1 million videos. I got the nice car in the video. I got the nice looking chick in the video. People butt naked in the video. Everybody's adhering to me in the video. I look amazing. Oh, now I could go on 106 and Park and show my video. This is the time when she came out. So I'm just painting a picture of the culture and that perception of looking successful, and hopefully being able to get that money on the road. So it's very easy on how and why they would sign these contracts. Now, is it a good model? Of course not, because it's built for the inevitable. It's inevitable for you to slow down. That's why they put it. That's why they put these contracts in perpetuity, forever. You want to buy back? Okay, cool. We got it forever unless you got the money to buy back your rights. Jay-Z took like $5 million to get out of Def Jam. He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna give y'all some money just so I can leave the contract. No, it doesn't fit. It doesn't. It's not feasible for me anymore." That's why I'm so grateful that I never signed a major deal. When I told my father I want to get into music, the first thing this man gave me was a big ass book on the music industry. It called Music Industry. Big ass telephone book, and I'm like, "Yo, I want to do music." He said, "You want to do music, but you really don't want to do music." And I didn't get what he said. I said, "Nah, I really want to do it." So you got to read that book, so that way you know what's going on when it comes to contracting. You know what to receive. You know what to get. Cause then you learn that music contracts is not even based on talent now. It's based on numbers. Do you have the numbers to come to a label and say, "Yo, I want to do a partnership with y'all"? But if you got the numbers, why do the partnership? You don't need the upfront money. You can always get slow cash, because slow cash is going to add up. When people look at different artists and be like, "Oh, he doesn't have 1 million streams. He got a couple thousand or 100,000." Yeah, that shit adds up, because guess what? It only goes to one person, opposed to having millions of streams and it's broken down to 10, 12 people before you even thought of. Most artists don't even see the bread. They get their bread that they signed for, and that's it. So it's easy how they get into these contracts, because most artists believe, if I have somebody handling my stuff, I'm important enough for them to handle it. But they don't know how this go. Like they talked about, what you hear it all the time. When you sign with a major, they give you a lawyer. You supposed to go get your lawyer, but most artists won't get their own lawyer. They give you a lawyer to finish your deal, to finish this deal. Like, "Yo, we trying to make the deal today. We're going to give you 25 racks, but you got to break your lawyer off because he's doing the deal for you." So the lawyer makes anywhere from 3 to 5 racks. It's just off the sign. Ain't sung a note, ain't rapped a bar, nothing. Not to mention, the lawyer that they give you is in the best interest of the label. And you're like, "Damn, how did they give you a lawyer?" That's a conflict of interest, because even though they do it slick wise, because even though they do business with the lawyer is not representing the label. So that's how they get away with it. So that's why you continuously hear artists such as Angie Stone and other major artists who were famous and who were popping are struggling today and not receiving and haven't never received the proper benefits and money from their music. It's because of that perception. Most people will rather be perceived to be popping, stand next to somebody that's popping, than to stand alone, have lower numbers, but make more money.
That's a fact.
It's too many times I've seen, and I've seen artists who didn't have as big of a buzz as major artists, but live a completely better lifestyle than these so-called major artists, who's constantly on TV, who's constantly getting pub. These major artists are struggling. They borrowing money from this person, borrowing money from that person. They gotta do something strange for a piece of change from that other person over there. Perception. And most people are in love with the perception than actually being successful. Shout out to Moo. She hitting that chat hard. Nowadays, you don't need a major label because these apps pay the artist the money. Tyrone is bigger. Tyrone and bigger companies, depending on what to do, they snatch in a heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely. Most artists, you need you some form of representation. You need a team, not necessarily a label. If your team is a label, then cool. But be a part of the label in its decision making choices. Artists understand if you come to the table without money, you do not call no shots. You have to come to the table with money. Yes, we could do a partnership. Yes, I know if I sign with y'all that I'm gonna be able to get this amount of money on shows because y'all fan base is gonna give me a new fan base, or it's gonna help grow my fan base. So I'm willing to cut y'all in because it's gonna take my money overall from 80,000 to 200,000. But I'm coming to the table with some money. If you don't come to the table with money, you do not call no shots, artists. That's just the way it go. Big bank take little bank all day. So it's sad to hear and see that older artists, a lot of older artists, was a part of the establishment where they had to be in a label or I had to be a part of the structure that was just constantly robbing artists. I thought about it earlier. Think about it. We was in a time where CDs was a big deal, having a video was a big deal, and those are major parts of a deal. And just off those two things right there, most artists would have killed to have a hot CD and a music video that played nonstop on 106 and Park or something like that.
But they had examples of people pressing up their own CDs and selling it out the back of the trunk of their car. You know what I'm saying? And then when these labels got too big, now these majors came in. We don't know what these meetings were about. We don't know what the contracts was. But as soon as they got with these majors, that hustle and the grind that got them there ceased to exist. So my point was like, why even need them if you already got the money where they were coming to you anyway? Obviously, you didn't need them in the first place because you was making the bread. Now they coming to you while you making the bread. Just continue making the bread. But somehow, some way, whatever meeting, whatever little chicken sandwich they was dangling, had niggas just going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that shit had you moving forward, where No Limit is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm. Perfect example.
So what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What meeting was it where they J jerked you? Which meeting was it?
Oh, No Limit?
Yeah, which meeting was it that they had that J jerked them with No Limit is not even a label, credible, have any kind of relevancy, any kind of funds today?
No, they still around.
I know they're still around, but the relevancy and the bread and the where they was before is not nowhere near where it was in the beginning.
I think it has everything to do with Master P handing the keys to Romeo and Romeo not having the same passion for the music as Pops did. Because there was No Limit forever, and that was supposed to be Romeo thing when he's taking this, take the label and take it to the new heights, while Dad focused on clothing and all the other business, movies and things like that. So I think that's why, and them in particular. But Master P did one of the smartest things I've ever heard of. He got an inheritance from his grandfather, took that money and bought a damn record store, A whole record store. This is back when people would actually go to a mom and pop record store to still buy records. And in the back, start making his own records. So while he's selling all the commercial records that's out here, he's sliding them joints in there like, yo, that's me. Not to mention moving them records from the trunk of his car. So, and then taking the money that he's made, he took $25,000 to go meet with Michael Jackson's lawyer to learn the game. And that's how he was able to build the No Limit. But No Limit died out because of the passing of the guard. You know, it's just not having the same passion. Romeo passion is acting. I don't think it's music because it's not. I think we've seen it. You just said it. It's no more No Limit, right? It is, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened with No Limit. Just to be clear, so I don't want people in the rewatch, you know, typing these answers or whatever, because this is the actual factual to it. So, but at the end of the day, the fact still remains. Why do most artists still sign those deals? Because you don't hear, if you really looking at it, how many No Limit artists you hear coming out talking about they down bad, except for Mystical, because of what Mystical, you know, law situation is. Like, he's back in jail. He's going to be in jail for a long time. But I've never heard another No Limit artist talk about money problems. I never heard Mia X talk about money problems. I never heard Fiend talking about money problems. I never heard Silk the Shocker talk about money problems. I never hear Snoop Dogg talk about money problems after the fact he came from No Limit. So if this group right here has a business structure of taking care of their artists and their artists doing the work, why did other parts of why haven't other new record executives or moguls adopt that same model? Because it benefited them more to sign them with a label, for them to max out with the label and bring other artists, and they take that money from the other artists. That's why they didn't do it. They wasn't about empowering other artists. Because if they was, they would have adopted Master P's process. And I'm not trying to throw stones, but how many Cash Money artists talk about their paperwork not right, their money is not adding up? Damn near everybody. So that goes to show right then and there. So again, rest in peace to Angie Stone. This conversation has so many layers, but again, we have to look at what's been done. So if we haven't seen it, it's not that they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't feel like it benefited them. How many artists said P Diddy didn't get their money right? Countless. So, all right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. My bad.